the previous match, Murstache ended up going down almost instantly to Zandy. Will we see something similar here in game 2, Jacob, or are we going to see the tables turn?
That's actually a really, really good point. We know two teams landed directly at Grim Gates with a third towards the outskirts, ready to third party at a moment's notice. And I even thought I saw a fourth begin to move in little by little. Yes, you do see them there on the right, but it does look like Malibuca Murstache this time around going for the straight up 50-50, and Zandy looked like he's there to challenge.
Who will be able to come out on top as Malibuca now is going to be the one that might be able to get this chest, but quickly deciding to go for the pickaxe. Was it the right decision, though, as now Murstache has been knocked down. Malibuca choosing to drop here to get those dashes, recuperate his shield with the barrels. You can see the knowledge of this drop spot all the time and practice that has been put in to maximizing the chances they have of coming out on top here in the early game. The issue is, Jacob, the more time they take, the more opportunity for third parties. Tripper and Fordoxy are on the outskirts. And with the Murstache being knocked down, and in this situation, picking him up is most likely not going to be the best idea, especially without materials. Malibuca has to quickly come up with a game plan.
Yeah, this is just an unfortunate situation because even though Murstache is down all the way at the top, they know exactly where he's at. Great play by Turtle, by the way, leaving off of that 50-50, getting the side angle to get the knock while there was a pickaxe battle going on, but finally the drop is going to come in. Malibuca trying to deal as much damage as possible. Zandy's shields are gone, but he's able to get out alive, disengage, and this is where maybe a little bit of blessing in disguise comes in. The other teams towards the outskirts we were talking about are now moving in this direction, but down goes the Major 1 champs.
Zandy as well with just a sliver of HP left. Turtle trying to do what he can to help him out, but Turtle gets knocked down. Zandy now, all it's going to take is a scratch to take him out. And during this, you can tell that the elimination feed is going to be interesting for the duos in the surrounding area, but as they know now, both duos that were contesting Grim Gate have been taken out. Now the only duo standing is going to quickly go for that medallion.
Yeah, the only thing I'm kind of looking for here is if Tripper and Fordoxy rotate in that direction, which I'm not too sure of it being a possibility right now. It's all happened too soon, but Fordoxy actually is moving over in that direction. He's probably at least getting information at the bare minimum, especially with the big bush bomb going down. Don't know exactly where those players are positioned, but you do see in the minimap they are moving closer and closer, even a third player moving in the distance.
The thing is, Fordoxy Trip, they don't know how healthy the players at Grim Gate are right now. You know, it could have been a very close neck-to-neck battle. So they might want to just take a peek to see kind of, you know, what's going on, how's it looking, scout the area, and I think that's exactly what Trip is going to do here.
Yeah, just by looking at Trip and pick up the shotgun there. He didn't have it in the inventory, couldn't rush over to that side of the map, so he kind of has to let that one go for free. But we talked about the game 1 winners. They're no longer in this lobby, and their spot has actually been taken over by Darm and Raxi. Hopefully they can utilize this newfound freedom and turn that into a game win.
Yeah, it can be risky sometimes when you take a spot from a game winner because you never know how many duos are actually going to try and do the same thing, but it looks like they rolled a 6 here because there was not a single team contesting them. So they had a lot of free time to loot up, play this split drop correctly. Question is, have they done it before? Do they kind of know the efficient route here? The only player around them is Skyjump, but I don't think he's even looking for any action. Players, though, that are Pablo Bevis, Noah, Tino. Do they want to finish it, though?
Yeah, it looks like possibly an early fight for the Forecast Tower. Getting position here early, like we've seen in season past, is going to be important. They're trying to get the launch pad. They're trying to get the high ground that is right next to it. So when it does spawn, they have the advantage. The longer this fight goes, the team could try to scroll and move in that direction. Noah and Chino. They're one of those teams that made it far. Got second place in that last game. So for now, leaderboards aren't necessarily going to be a worry, but they want that win. They want to end it here in game 2. Relax, watch the rest of the FNCS and start to build a game plan.
Might even be worth it, you know, to play extra aggressive and just try and get those full-on eliminations, kind of play all or nothing here and have yourself fully set up for the late game without kind of playing the half staggered with not a lot of loot, not a lot of shields left up. But for these two duos, they're both quite healthy. They're not in desperate need of anything necessarily. Dexy, though, Eclipse. No materials. 5 metal builds is all Dexy has here. Flowberry being popped. Is it to escape? Is it to disengage? Or is it to go down and play extra aggressive as they look for an angle here?
Yeah, a little bit of mixture of both. Get the shields up, be able to drop down as soon as they find their opponents. And they're doing it almost layer by layer, trying to be as safe as possible, not really caught off guard. As soon as Dexy spots out one, they use their numbers to that advantage, and immediately you see him change positions, knowing that player is going to run. They are going to be hot on the chase, but they're taking their time. Rightfully so. You don't want to accidentally drop into the wrong box at the wrong time. But the longer they stay stagnant in this position, the harder it's going to be kind of rotate in and find the next spot. Because there's going to be a lot of teams going for bunkers that are a lot further in to where they need to go.
Right. I mean, what could happen is the zone continues to pull north, which would mean there won't be as many duos there, and it shouldn't be as difficult of a rotate. But if the zone does pull south, that's going to be a problem. And was it looking like they were about to drop everything? I'm trying to see how... Yeah, it's just that brick structure, the initial 1x1. Do they actually want to drop it, though?
He's just taking his time. It does look like he's planning to drop it, but doesn't want to give out the fact that he is actually going to drop it. Another piece is out of the way. Flowberry Fizz to make sure he doesn't drop along with it, but you see their opponents dropping layer by layer. They've probably seen this one coming from a mile away, and they're trying to prepare for it. But if you look at their builds, they don't have a ton. So if this fight continues to be a prolonged fight, they will run out, and they will have to think outside of the box.
Neither duo has builds, though. So if they end up dropping this whole structure, I mean, both teams will be able to build a couple boxes, but that's basically it. So it doesn't really give too much of an advantage for either duo here, as they continue to just kind of let the clock tick, timer run down. We'll see Rezon and Vadeal, though. They like finishing these engagements a lot quicker. As you can see, Lucia, though, connecting 2 massive shots. 7 HP is all that Rezon's left with. Got to be careful now.
It's kind of like the double edge of the gatekeeper. 3 quick shots can down your opponent very, very quick. You miss a couple of those shots, though, you're going to be stuck on a reload, really without able to defend yourself. But luckily, his teammate was there. They quickly made the numbers matter. CZB, Nathan end up in another fight, but Misha, with just a very little bit of HP, have turned the tides and the table, taken down CZB. Now it's going to be him and Nathan, and a full-on 1v1 with not too many teams looking in this direction.
I'd want to be Nathan in this 1v1, though. Looking at his HP and shield, Misha. It's going to be difficult. I believe he's just trying to run away here, or maybe even hide. Unless he has medkits and shields to recuperate what he's lost. But Nathan should be able to get basically a free reboot here. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Misha is going to be able to recuperate shields with that Flowberry. He had medkits as well, so...
Part 2.
He's not going to let Nathan reboot no more. Is this a part 2? Reboot Royale, as Minnie said. I don't think so, though. Misha wants to get out of there.
Yeah, I can't say I wasn't hoping for it, but he probably felt he was just a little too late on the chase to get on over to that side, thinking the reboot was going to get on, so he thinks his better chances, simply just trying to disengage out of this fight. And back into another one that we saw very, very early on, the fight for the forecast tower, instantly won by Vortexers and Voco, something that they have been doing almost all season long, making that forecast tower a huge part of their game plan.
I mean, being able to see the upcoming zones give you quite the advantage, so you can see why they won it so badly. Swizzy Vanyak, though, they are in their own little engagement here, but in the meantime, players taking shots from the surrounding area. They are going to make use of that waterbending mythic, though, to apply as much pressure as possible without using up ammunition. As you have to be careful, though, as Vanyak was almost in danger of being dropped there.
Just needs to be careful, though, because as good as it is distance, putting pressure from above, that waterbending ability isn't necessarily the best when it comes to box fighting just like this. Vanyak doing a good job of keeping his distance, playing to his loadout. Not really biting off more than he could chew, but Voltiax and Psycho Cool are just waiting nearby. They're probably waiting for some sort of a knock. They're waiting to hear the shields crack, and that's going to be their green light to third party this with ease.
Do they know? That's my question. The 2 players box fighting here, 2 duos. But there's just another team crouched outside their box, kind of waiting for an invitation, saying, you know, the door's open yet. Is it time? Are we invited? I don't think you are, but you might be able to still join the party here as Vaniac continues to just use their opponent's materials. I mean, that's the kind of annoying part of being on the opposite end of that waterbending mythic, is they can just constantly take shots at your builds and you can't really do much about it other than moving around, unless you want to play aggressive. But I don't think anything too risky here, full-on engagement-wise, is going to end up concluding. For now, I believe the players are just going to keep looking for their tags.
I would be careful. If I was Psycho Multi-X going up against Vaniac and Swizzy, they finished 5th on the series point leaderboards. They had 8 top 10 games, 5 of those being inside of the top 5, and they are the only team in the top 7 that has a 15 or more elimination game. They know how to get active when the moment calls for it, and it doesn't matter who they're going up against from one opponent to the next. They're ready for a challenge at all turns. You see Swizzy, Vaniac slowly but surely playing for that piece control, not wanting to give up any position or any one of those covers for free.
You can see they were marking up a drop, trying to see if they could catch a player off guard while he was healing. Unable to do so, but haven't lost HP either, so far it's still pretty relaxed for these two duos. Veno, though, lost Tayson in the last match, but this could be huge if they're able to pick up these 2 elims. Tayson gets knocked, but Veno cleaning it up. Both players eliminated. 3 on the board now. That's huge.
Yeah, that's got to be big for their surge. Huge confidence builder. Tayson already had 1 elimination on the Frizzy earlier on in this game, so it isn't going to be the first fight that they take over. And now they have a chance with all that loot to go from one side to the next. Marius and Sangil, we saw them suffer to Storm Surge in that last game. And now you can see kind of what it's causing them to fight for it even harder here in this game. But Marius opens up the cover, takes a massive shot, forced backwards by Noah Riley. And both of these teams here are just in a tough situation. There's not a lot of HP to regain, so they have to beeline their way to zone before it's too late.
Taking a look at the mini-map, there's not too much danger here, to be fair. It's just focused on the duos that were box fighting each other. Gonna make use of that flow berry. Key for rotations in this current meta. It's a must-have in your loadout. Marius Sangild unable to connect that sniper shot, but being around the area with this river of sticks, it makes rotations a lot easier. You can even go deeper into zone, as we can see here, and just make use of those dashes. So it shouldn't be too much of an issue to make it into zone, but they do want to find hopefully a med kit, some bandages. I didn't see any in their inventory, but
it's a huge risk. It's a huge risk for them without any current heals in the inventory, and then having to rotate back to find more. If they don't find any heals, I expect to see them go down in the feed. But the champions of Grim Gate, you can see them where they're positioned. Really nothing to worry about. So my only question for a team like this is the surge. Because of that early game fight, even though they did win it, there wasn't a lot of shields. There wasn't a lot of HP to go around. So if they haven't gotten a ton of surge, they're going to be worried. But right now, 534 above the damage threshold. 0 worries for them in terms of positioning, loadout, anything at all, unless the zone does pull far.
Like, that's where I'm trying to be. For Kentic and Finn, I mean, Grim Gate Medallion, 3 bush bombs, 600 above, good materials. There's not much more you need to play out this match, and they know that. So they're just focused on surviving here, waiting the zones out, letting everybody else battle, and maybe taking some pop shots here and there from afar, but nothing too risky. I love this surge base as well by tripping for Doxy on top of a structure in Grim Gate. You can see they can even reform the brick they used to build this structure, and now they have an incredible amount of vision here of the surrounding area. We'll see where zone closes, though, as next one should appear shortly. If they're lucky enough, it will close around them. If not, a rotation will have to be made.
Yeah, one thing I did notice is Doxy had the Thunderbolt of Zeus, something I've seen this team do before. They target out bases in the distance to try to get fall damage, to try to get a knock with that Thunderbolt of Zeus. And it's something we've seen at least in Qualifier 2, and him having no AR, no SMG, you got to think he's thinking about it again. Trapped and Skrill, 21 below the damage threshold, on top of Rift Island. A little bit of an isolated fight against Naku, but he's just quickly on the run. Doesn't want to give it up for free, but he has to be careful, Strap, because There's Pink and Vico on the other side, and they're trying to attack from 2 different angles. Pink Vico not taking the bait just yet. Now Storm Surge dealing some damage, 21 below. He barely needs to hit a shot, but there's no opportunities for Srap just yet.
Gotta be careful as the pressure is on now. All it needs is one quick shot, but scrapped. 4 bananas in the inventory. I don't even know if he's gonna have time to use them though, as Vico now is considering applying more pressure with that huge shot. Skrill Scrap recuperating their HP, but they're still below on Surge. So for how long will they be able to sit there on heal until they have to go right back into the action? But Vico knows this, waiting for them to strike, using that right-hand peek perfectly.
Don't necessarily heal the Storm Surge, hear it while it's active, but those shields being popped is huge. Drake strapped down into the box, taking advantage of the pressure situation he's in. Skrill's there on the other side, can't build, can't separate himself. Couple missed shots with the DMR. Well, you can see why that Gatekeeper just takes a little too long to reload in those tough situations, but peeks through the cover. Pink takes a monster of a shot. The tables could turn in this fight. If Shrill to just start to get aggressive, but you can see no longer suffering to Surge. It was a sacrifice that was a must with his teammate going down.
On thin ice right now. Got to be careful not to slip. As Skrill has picked up a bit more confidence now from those shots he connected. Building his way back up. I mean, there is a reboot van up here, but with the amount of players in the surrounding area, it's not going to be something that's very viable. Trying to see here if Chicho, yeah, his duo partner is up. I'm not sure where Trulex is. He should be around him, no, but...
Yeah. Just not too far off into the distance. They're just trying to cover more distance to try to get Surge. Instead of the massive tower that they normally build to get an amazing line of sight, they've rotated into this position, boxed up separately, and just tried to individually gather Surge. Trulex is the one that's boxed up near the rift. Chicho closes in on that direction, and they're ready for Zone to move in when they have to use that rift. And with that rift and the elevation that they're going to gain from, that's where they're going to try to choose a crucial spot here for the next zone.
You can see the uncongested side was the opposite side of Rift Island, which is the west of the map, which means Fredoxy and Trip that were based up on Green Gate should have a pretty free rotate. Hyjo and his duo, though, once again, another team that's forced to just find action, find damage. It's their last resort. They need to just get into a box. They need to hit a shot right now, or it's going to be too late.
Oh, wow.
Shots connected, but they end up getting eliminated. Gripey now, another player that might just be a bit below the Surge threshold. But for the duos that have capitalized on this situation, while all other players are trying to just get in and do damage, they just sit back and take those defensive shots. It's a good way to replenish all those shields, all that loot that they might have needed.
Yeah, and luckily for them, as the zone moves and opens up, that whole top part that is currently covered, they're going to get that space to try to be able to rotate in so they don't have to go to the congested side. They can try to stay on the side of the mountain, but other teams beginning to notice a rotation like this and try to cover as much of the ground as possible. Pink Vico from Rift Island, they're the ones trying to land in front of him, but Hedra just gets cut off, forced to stop momentarily, and a lot of the heals are going to be expended just for them to get in a position to where they're healthy for the next zone, but Hedra doesn't even get a chance to use it. That's Rezon and Vadeal on the other side. Instantly burst into the box, get the first knock of 2. Kerwa, he's able to stay alive, escape, create some distance, but you lose your teammate.
There's a lot of duos in this match, Jacob, that are looking incredibly strong compared to game 1. I feel like a majority of teams game 1, if not almost all of them, I guess except for Cammy and Seti, were incredibly low on loot, shields, everything. They didn't even have mats. But now I see a lot of potential winners in this match. Vadeal, Rezon, Fredoxy, Trip. There's so many stacked teams that are up. And now in 7th zone, getting closer and closer to that late game. Let's see what happened here. Demus, huge little window shot. Side jump.
I watch a lot of Fortnite. I always think I'm impressed and can't be impressed anymore. And you find opportunities like that just to get elims and damage, especially when you don't even need it. Medander, 8 below. It isn't much. And luckily for him, it's going to turn off, but he was already in the act. Sky and Scroll take him down. It's not going to be a bunch of loot that they're going to be able to get for that one, but it's something to kind of add to the total in which they're able to get so far. They still got a little bit more of a rotation to go, but it's not too much of a worry with most of the playing field towards their west.
The Frizzy and His duo down below, just kind of chilling. Meanwhile, Sky and Scroll get their way into zone. Howley only has a waterbending mythic and his shotgun. Flowberry Fizz to help him out a little bit, but 7 builds on to work with. I mean, they need to find some sort of impact here, which is why they're going into zone so late here, trying to kind of find the back end duos that might be a little bit low on HP or shield, but I don't think they even have enough builds to make it up this ridge safely. This is not a position you want to be in.
Yeah, even though they do make it up, they can't really box themselves up. They're forced to recycle. A lot of that Flowberry Fizz currently being used, not enough to really make them healthy. They find one person by himself. That's Nathan. No CZB in sight, but he's able to escape. And as soon as that happens, 33 below the damage threshold. But they find 2 legendary bananas. They find some heals to try to keep themselves alive. Job isn't over just yet. Fast Roki's gonna go down, but it comes at a cost. Howley gets knocked himself, leaving Nefrizzy by himself.
This is huge, though. Nefrizzy could even potentially pick up the loot from that initial elimination, but he needs to win this 1v1. Either the player leaves or he comes out on top. It's a 66 shot, but it's not enough. Just 10 more damage is what he needed. Vadeal and Rezon now looking to see if they can claim height here.
Even Kerwell went down immediately after. Almost a no-win, but at least they were able to get points. No placements just yet, but a huge snipe by Kiro. And then Mappy are going to be able to clean that one up. Huge amount of loot. Another one! Marius gets one as well. A sniping little montage there on that rotation, but it's Rezon and Vadeal from game 1 to game 2. They once again find themselves in possession of the high ground.
They're hungry for it, Jacob. You can tell. Can they maintain it, though? Look at their loadout. Look at their inventory. The future is looking bright for this duo in this match. Hopefully no shadows. Try and overthrow them, though. Sky Scroll down below. Veno Tayson also. You can tell they're hungry for it by the way they're scouting around. Just 9 seconds left, and first moving will appear. The rotations will come through. A lot more healthy players and duos in this match.
Yeah, you know exactly what he's looking for. We all kind of know what he's looking for. Seeing back height, knows how tall they are. I can see a snipe opportunity at least coming through for Veno for a height take. But as him and Tayson continue to move forward, they're taking the road less traveled, going all the way down below. They're trying to prepare for the future and immediately find an uncontested side that they're going to try to gain elevation, get up towards that bridge, and worry about the next zone after that.
Finn here, trying to see what he can do. 2 legendary bananas in the loadout. They do have that Grimgate medallion, so unlimited dashes to rotate through. Not too many materials, but more than enough to make something happen. They were almost 600 above before. It's dropped down now just to 39. Forced to kind of take shots during this rotate. They've made it in, but they're going to need a refresh.
Yeah, the medallion is only kind of half of the battle. As they continue to move forward, they got the job done in terms of getting to the front side of the zone. Still got more traveling to do, and I was about to say they got to pass that medallion because they only have 1 dash between the 2 of them, but rightly played. But if you look at the high ground, it's been overtaken by yet another team, Trash and Zohan.
What happened? What went wrong here for Vadeal and Rezon is now Zohan from above continuing to land shots. They just need to maintain this throughout the match. I'm trying to see, though, do they have those heals? Do they have medkits? If it's something they want to play out. We started off game 1 without a heal off, even though it is that qualifier through the Victory Royale is what gets you to grand finals. But Rezon and Vadeal now looks like they might be hungry for height once again, but quickly enough they drop down and continue that rotate forwards. They just want to stay up here.
Yeah, quick thinking to move ahead of the game. Even though they waterfalled all the way down low towards the low ground, it's to grab a spot in the front side of zone. Tayson and Veno, they're still hunting, not quickly moving to the front side. They're just trying to let these opportunities present themselves before they make their way across. And once again, another team bypassing all the chaos to get to the front side of zone. But there's another team trying to break their way in. Veno with a quick shot. He gets damaged up just a little bit, but backtracks, reunites with Tayson to safety.
At ultimate low, this has its positives and negatives. A lot of players are going to be dropping down here, so there's going to be a lot of action, but also the potential for a duo to just fall right into your box. You can see how many duos there are in the surrounding area here, as they will pop that flow barrier to continue going forwards. Marius, Sandguild, though, a few layers up, looking healthy.
Just trying to buy their time. You see the coin being passed around. I think it's Pink and Vico that might have control of that one, but Marius on the chase. No builds. He loses his teammate. It's almost all or nothing for him in this scenario, but with Zone pushing so many other teams in, his opportunity to strike. Shot gonna land on Veno. Not really able to do anything with it. With Zone now pushing him in, the splashes are gonna be expended, and with no builds, he finally gets taken down, but there's so much chaos going down all around. Vico trying to use that medallion to his advantage, finds another elimination. Him and Pink with the opportune time trying to take over this game.
Call security. Vico's looking unstoppable as Valpy now is looking to overthrow Hyde, but without shields, without materials, it's not going to be possible. Vadeal, Rezon now back on top, looking to hold their ground.
If at first you don't succeed, you try again. From game 1 to game 2, they're hoping they made the proper adjustments, but down low with the medallion that we've seen win so many games in FNCS, no matter the region. First shot's there. Fordoxy gets knocked. It's a 4-team endgame here with Pink and Vico with the ultimate low ground and full control.
With that coin, this is danger.
No
for
builds.
Rezon and Vadeal up above. So many healthy duos down below as Vico, once again, are you kidding me? 7 eliminations. Chicho goes down, still going strong, pushing up layers. They need to find a way how to close it out.
That might have been the Underworld medallion. Siphon could be a possibility for Vico. Trippin at the bottom, finds the toe tag on the Pink, and it's now 2 solos on the low ground. One team poised to steal this game away on the high ground, but Trippin with 10 HP, he's fighting for every inch in this end game, but the final boss, Rezon, Vadeal, they're dropping down low. They're ending the game without a heal off and advance to the EU FNCS Grand Finals.
What a way to close out the second match. Vico was looking unstoppable down below, but what mattered here was that victory royale. And from the start of this late game, even from the previous match, Rezon and Vadeal were looking for that height. They were looking for that golden ticket. It did not go their way game 1. It didn't even go their way at the start of these moving zones when their high ground was overthrown, but they played by the books. They played calm, collected, regrouped, took height once again in the last moving zones and closed out the match for the victory royale. What a great way to make it to grand finals.
Yeah, and a huge adaptation from game 1 to game 2. High ground in game 1, contested by Seti and Cammy, tried to hold on to it, was their ultimate demise. Game 2, they gave it up, and for right reasons. They end up on top of the world, advancing to the grand finals. And with 2 teams already on that battle bus ready for this, I'm going to throw it on over to the desk to break down game 2.